Here at Gear Challenge, we've been monitoring the volcanic activity at the Gelding Adelier. I believe it's how it's pronounced. Gelding or Gelding Adelier. Adelier. Gelding Adelier Frada. And I can't say it. So it's basically the volcano that has been erupting for the last several days in Iceland. And I think that, okay, we've got a guy, this is live from a camera, a static camera that they have. And we've got an individual here in orange, obviously, high visibility for the whiteout conditions. And we've had a whiteout here for quite some time during the day. So the volcano is not currently visible. You can see some snow drift or some snowflakes wisping across the screen. And of course, this is all remote. I'm not there. And only appropriately brought to you by Reka Vodka from Iceland. And of course, I just made a martini. So this is the last little bit remaining from the bottle. And kudos to the individual that's ascending the hillside. This is a view from a static camera looking down into the valley where the cone of the volcano is. And salute, good sir, salute. That is, well, it's interesting. I wonder if he's probably a maintenance individual, perhaps a scientist that is approaching to check on the status of the camera that I've been monitoring for several days now. And so with that in mind, again, salute, sir. Great vodka from your country. I can't believe we've got the timing of this. I'm going to just top off this martini because, as you know, the beverage will condense at the bottom. Okay, so that's the last remaining. Thank you very much, sir. And, okay, the individual is off screen. So I'm going to pause here. Okay, here we go. So yeah, probably, well, it's either a vandal or a maintenance person, and based upon his shoulder patch, I'm going to imagine that he's with the Geological Survey Organization of either Iceland or North Europe. Can't quite make that out, so your guess is as good as mine, and of course I'm just running this as a remote camera myself. So, okay, here we go. We've got a little bit of, I don't know if it's going to be visible for you, but we've got a little bit of a glow from the cone. There's the cone, the glow here, and then there's a glow here. This is the top cone or the highest cone, and this is either the second or the third aspect of that. Of course, I'm no geologist, and I'm not pretending to be, to want to be offensive to anyone. And this, of course, is the Gelding Adelier Farga. Okay, I'm just not going to try and butcher that so any more than I already have. This is probably their Geological Survey Organization's camera as a public service, and of course we see a little bit of glow again through the whiteout, and imagine that this individual is conducting some level of maintenance. Salute, sir. My martini off to you. And hopefully we'll get a bit of clearance on the whiteout. I apologize for the quality of the video on this. This is not a direct capture from the screen. I'm recording this from another recording device just because it happened to be suitable for the time being. So I have posted at a couple of locations the live camera from this organization based in Iceland. I think that that's really the best way to view this. And if you are so inclined, if you are to look up live camera, Icelandic volcano erupts, or something to that effect, you will in fact, oh, there we go, a little bit of his gear. He's got his backpack strung still on. Of course, under those cold environments, you're not going to bother removing it unless you have to get into some aspect. Is that acrylic on his? I'm sorry, I'm making a little minor observations here. I don't think that's actually acrylic. Nope, it's Icelandic, I think. Who knows? So your guess is as good as mine, and mine is very awkward right now. So I encourage you to watch this. It's it speaks for itself once you find the video feed, and it will change from time to time. It's not a constant live camera feed. Getting a little bit of clearance here. You can see the dark portions of the bottom of the valley, and that is probably volcanic flow, lava flow that is hardened into black glass or into the darker, the black color of cooled lava. But you can see that glow coming from what I believe is the top portion of the cone. And it's just been constantly spewing, like something out of a sci-fi, Neanderthal era movie from the 50s, if you will. It looks like depictions of typical volcanic activity that you might have seen in during educational periods, and during different levels of school. This whiteout is beginning to clear, and you can probably see, I'm looking on the screen here for the recording device, and you can definitely see the flurry of snowflakes just drifting, blowing constantly. One of the observations I've made is about a day ago, about 24 hours ago, there was audio associated with this camera feed. I don't know why that's not picked up at this time, but whatever the case may be, it's not. But it was a little comforting. It was almost like watching a campfire, like sitting in front of a campfire when I was able to take this in from time to time. So I'm going to go ahead and pause, check on availability of any more Reka vodka. We'll toss that in again. It's a great little vodka from Iceland. And let's come back to this a little bit later. I'm going to go ahead and put the camera on pause. So, salute. Get yourself a beverage, a nice warm and fuzzy beverage, to sit back and enjoy this if you get a chance to watch, preferably the live camera feed, not mine. Now, here we are back with the scene of the valley, if you will. The valley, the darkened part of the valley. We've got a lot of clearance from the whiteout, still significant snowfall. You can see it in my screen as well, the significant snowflakes that are coming down. But we've got a much better view of the valley. The darkened area is, okay, well, there we go. Probably I imagine there's a tourist. And from what I understand, there are quite a number of tourists that are going to this destination. By the way, all of these little spikes, these little dark vertical spikes, are not trees. Those are probably tourists that have gone to this location to get close to the volcanic activity. And also looks like we've got our maintenance person or a scientist is tugging on a pull start for probably a fuel-powered generator, most likely to provide the power for supplying the resource for this camera that we're having access to. So again, the little vertical dots along the edge, it almost looks like a lake. The dots are probably tourists that have gone there. There are a few scientists at the location, but I think that they're being a little more reserved about their approach at this point. Now, the steam or the smoke or the fumes that we're seeing here may be sulfuric fumes. They may be, I doubt that is actual fires, because as the lava advances over anything that is combustible, it immediately ignites it and burns it. And, my experience with Iceland is that there's, not a lot of tall vegetation. Looks like maybe we're having a technical problem with that generator. I hope he's successful in getting it started. Know what that can be like. So we have a much better view of the cone. The top of the cone here, and of course quite bright orange. The flow is coming straight down the front of that view of the outer perimeter of the cone. And then just to the right, if memory serves, we've got a second and a third cone. Maybe, yeah, he looks like he's a little pissed, so can't quite blame him for that. Hey, salute, brother. Keep it going, So, and all the best to him and his that are there. So, and it looks like we've got a couple of Air Ops craft coming around. A couple of probably. I couldn't make it. It was at the very top. And again, this is at the Gelding de l'Air Fra, anyhow, the Iceland volcano that's erupting now. And you'll be able to pick this up live. I was curious about what that was. It was either some type of aircraft, probably helicopters, and just kind of getting back to what we're dealing with this eruption. It's been a phenomenally, I just have to say it's been quite relaxing to be able to have a little bit of decompression time to take this in and to watch it live. We did have audio at one point, and here we go. Here's okay, that's going to be one of the halos that was just probably came around and orbited behind the position of the camera. And he's coming in with quite an aggressive approach, which you probably want to do when you're flying over a lot of gases like that. He flew out of the point of view of the camera. In any event, it's just been extremely relaxing. There was audio at one point, about 12 hours or so ago, maybe between 12 and 16 hours ago. There was an audio, and I just imagine, well, maybe that's, oh, here we go. We've got Air Ops that's ascending from the deck. I don't think he came in low and raised. He was probably just over the rise here, the rise of this little section. And there's another one in the foreground. So they're having quite a number of helicopters. You know what? They're probably bringing in tourists, more than likely. You got some high dollar folks that can afford to hire Air Ops to bring them in and bring them out. They're probably going to be delivering champagne and caviar down there on the deck. So here we have a little bit better view of the cone, that bright orange in the center, the flow coming straight down the front, almost directly down the center, and then off to the left, closer to the base of the cone, there's either a secondary or a thirdly, if that's even a word, spout, whatever they call it in geological terms. So quite a lot of air activity. I'm going to go ahead and cut away. I've been prattling on, but I've been enjoying this Reka vodka. Again, I'll give them a spot. Reka vodka directly from Iceland. Beautiful, beautiful stuff. And of course, this was I already poured the last tip into the remainder of that ongoing martini before I tip it off. So I'm going to go ahead and pause this and take it in a little bit. Hopefully we'll continue with some clear conditions. And maybe and here we've got some people down in the foreground, almost like at the very base of what you might call it's like a lake bed almost. If you just want to superimpose the dark colored lava that's cooling and imagine that as water, that this is a lake, and who knows, maybe it'll be a lake in a year from now, once we get all of that snow melt from the upper elevations, and maybe a season or two of that, a couple of drops, and we'll just see how that works out. So plan on coming back here in a bit and enjoy. And again, go live to take in this live camera. It will change from time to time. They will have a live feed, then it will end, and then you'll have to search and find the new live feed for I think it's called the Iceland Volcanic Activity Live, something like that. And it's supported by an Icelandic organization, probably or possibly their geological society. So enjoy that. Okay, I'm going to come back in. It's just been a couple of minutes, but we've got Air Ops coming off to the left. The people that were standing down here are moving away. It looks like they've been given instructions. And Air Ops is going to swoop in, descend, probably land, and probably in that area. Or not. Okay, once again, kind of out of view a bit over the rise that is directly in front of this camera position. So hopefully we'll get a bit better shot of the entire cone. And again, just taking this in. It's, grab a cocktail or a coffee and enjoy, decompress. Well now, it's been, some time has gone by and I've had to step away. But at the Gelding Adelair fra Fagradalsfjall, I cannot pronounce the Icelandic, so salute. My apologies to those individuals. We've got a much more clear view of the valley at this point, and that central highest cone is just constantly belching molten lava up. It cascades out from time to time, spills down what amounts to a flue at the very center, and it continues to supply new lava to this lava bed that is in the foreground, with the steam or the sulfur fumes emitting from different little pores and areas where it's cracked and open. Off to the left, down the left side of the slope, if you will, is at least one secondary plume or secondary spout. And yesterday there were three. There were a total of three. One central, one about midway down, and then a third one further down the slope. So you can see that just, popping out, just spewing out and sputtering, and just a constant emission of molten lava. With this background, and of course over the last couple of days I've been able to take in some bluer skies, and of course there's been some night shots where this is just even more spectacular. I may come back on a little bit later and give you a view of that, but it's just been absolutely phenomenal. I'm going to finish this guy off. Continue to enjoy that. Probably have to step away for a bit, and if I'm still able to do so, I may go ahead and give it a shot of the night view. The night view is really spectacular. So with that, big time salute. And of course, there's been air ops coming in and out constantly, and talk soon. Okay, came back, and our martini is long since expired. But again, I think that this segment is brought to you by Reka Vodka. Of course, the bottle's empty at this point. And this is a little bit better view of the dynamics from the cone. You've got that constant billowing, splashing lava, and now the lava flow down the center of the exterior of the cone is quite bright. Just something out of a sci-fi movie almost. And I don't know, I find it extremely peaceful, especially when we had the sound effect earlier on. And hopefully they will establish an audio feed from this location, because at the distance you could almost time the splashes compared to the very subtle sounds, what appear to be coming from the volcano itself. But again, just wanted to give you an example of just how bright that lava splash is at the center. Well, now a number of hours have gone by, and it appears that we may have a bit of fresh lava flow over in this area. It's not, I don't know if it's as bright on the screen for this camera that I'm using as it is on the screen from the computer from the live feed, but you can certainly see how bright the activity is, not just from the cone and that going to the left, that additional vent or that additional point where the lava is spewing from, but also in the foreground. We're getting a lot more orange color emitting from there, and that may be from the position of the sun at this point. I imagine that this camera is probably pointing somewhat to the west based upon just my basic observations from the light cast earlier, and where it is now. But you can see those the lava just going over the edge of the rim of the volcano, and of course spewing off to the left, and just the flow just coming different ways. I think it'd just be spectacular to get a time lapse. Oh, here we go. There was another spout off coming down the side of the slope. There's another one off to the right of the main flow. But it'd be interesting to get a time lapse. My understanding is that this volcano did not start off as a cone, but has built up over the last week or weeks to the point where it is now from this constant activity. So, again, just a slightly different aspect of this development of this volcano. Okay, a few more hours along and checking in, and wow, that was just interesting. We get those bright lava flows, those bright orange. Again, it's just, like I said, this is a painting in progress. If you can access the live feed, it is absolutely phenomenal. Just the way the orange rivulets of liquid or molten lava are just kind of taking their own different directions. And I can't tell for sure, but it looks like maybe some of the tourists have moved away, have a little more steam, as you can see along this edge here. I don't know if that's steam or smoke from vegetation that's being burned by the progression of the lava flow itself, because underneath all of that black mass, there's also, in some cases, molten lava that's still moving along, moving underneath the surface that is hardened and slightly cooled. And of course that cracks and opens up and moves along as well. So just a phenomenal additional view of this volcano activity in Iceland. Well, now here we go with yet another. I just, every time I come back to check this, it's just more and more amazing. It's probably because of lighting conditions, but it appears that the snowfall has ceased. And wow, that's that smaller vent I was talking about that is becoming a larger vent now. And I think with the darkening conditions, you get that vivid, visceral orange in the lava flow, in the fresh lava flow, as it's probably flowing and bubbling underneath that surface. Just truly amazing. I can't pick out any individuals off to the right along the edge, and I've not noticed any air ops activity, helicopters or other aerial activity. But again, it's just kind of going now. If we're still around when nightfall comes, it will be that much more just phenomenal to see. Okay, now coming back on, quite a bit more time has passed. You can tell, we're getting close to dusk in Iceland. The lava flow is just that much more spectacular, and I don't know if that's evidence of more activity or if it's just because of lighting conditions that it's that much more visible. I'm not aware of there being any special lenses on this static camera in Iceland, or any other treatment that they may have made for this recording. My understanding, it's just a constant live feed, and of course that feed will be interrupted from time to time, and then you have to log back in to a different, what amounts to a different broadcast. And then once that live feed ends, then you would have to log back on. And I don't have any idea as to how often, but again, if you go to Iceland Volcano Live or something to that effect, and if the name of the channel reads what is clearly Icelandic, I encourage you to go to that. I am curious about this very bright light over here. Yeah, I have no explanation for that, and no input whatsoever. So if someone knows, please let me know, and and we'll go from there. But again, just spectacular, spectacular